Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Mamba's Legacy podcast, and we're joined here by our new guest, Steven. What's up, Steven?
Yo, what's up?
You've unfortunately made a mistake of being a Heat fan on this podcast, but we'll be nice to you today. And we're also joined here with Jay. What's up, Jay?
The Heat got swept.
Thank you, Jay.
Uh,
Starting off this hot, but we're gonna save the Heat slander for last because nobody wants to hear me slander on the Heat for 40 minutes. So
I do.
well, I know you do, but not everybody. So let's start off real quickly. Clippers and Suns. Are the Clippers about to make another 0-2 comeback? They've done that twice already. Can they do it 3 times in a row? Can they beat the Suns team? Steven, we'll start off with you. Can the Clippers do it?
um, hell no.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that a little bit more.
Yeah. All right. So being down 0-2, right? You've already played 2 basketball games in a series, right? So you've got to win 4. So you can win the next 4 or it drags to a 7. I think these guys are tired, especially since Kawhi's not there. You've got other guys on the team having to pick up the load. I just think they're going to be too tired to make another 0-2 comeback.
I'm not gonna go as hard on the hell no. I don't think it's very likely, but I do believe they have a chance. I think Paul George. I mean, maybe he can do it. I don't know, especially with Zubac playing well. But we're getting more into that in a second. Jay, can the Clippers make another 0-2 comeback?
All right. So last year, the Denver Nuggets made two of the a back-to-back 3-1 comeback, and then they got to the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals and got gentlemen swept. I think the same thing. I think the exact same thing is going to happen with the Clippers. I want Chris Paul to win a ring, but that's not my only reason. When Booker was on it, they could not stop him. There was not a single person on the Clippers roster who could not guard Devin Booker. And even though, there were specific players who, they picked it up, like Zubac. He had 15 points, 16 rebounds, 2 blocks, and he did a lot of that. He did a lot of the dirty work from the inside, and you can appreciate that. You can appreciate Reggie Jackson turning into an all-star, but in general, I just think without Kawhi, there's just not a chance.
All right. I mean, that's a very solid argument to make. I do think they may be a little bit gassed. I just can't completely count them out yet. But let's talk about the teammates that have been playing really well. First of all, you just mentioned it. Reggie Jackson has been playing out of his mind. I have never seen him play this well before for this long. It's really something to watch. Terrence Mann had that 39-point game. Don't need to remind you. But Zubac last night went a little bit unnoticed. 15
I just said
points. I know, but on Twitter, it went unnoticed. 16 points, 16 rebounds, and 2 blocks. I mean, he was down there getting the dirty work done. Not talked about enough in the media, Jay, since you need to hear that. Can the Clippers role players keep this up and keep the Clippers in fighting and shooting distance of beating the Suns in any game? Steven, how well would you rate the bench play of this Clippers team, and can they keep the series close at least?
So the Clippers, I don't think they have that great a bench compared to the Phoenix bench, just because guys don't hit their shots. And you know what? This guy, he actually starts the Clippers, but I'm going to touch on him just a little bit. Marcus Morris has to perform way more than, way better than he has. This is a guy who last year with the Knicks, it was last year, right, with the Knicks?
Halfway through the season, he got traded, but he started off with the Knicks, yes.
Yeah, so as the Knicks, he was the guy averaging 20 points a game. The whole reason the Clippers brought him to the team was because they saw his offensive capabilities. But you know what? He's just one of those guys who'll perform great one game, and he'll have the next 4 games where he doesn't do anything. And guys like Batum, he has redeemed himself this year. He's still a really decent NBA player, but I think in players like Batum's case, he doesn't have that big an impact that you would want him to have, just because he's not fast enough to keep up with a guy like Mikal Bridges, a guy like Jay Crowder, he might not be strong enough because Jay Crowder is a strong guy, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't think the Clippers bench is up to it.
All right. I mean, that's interesting. Jay, can the Clippers bench keep it close this series?
I want to touch a little bit more on Nicholas Batum since I have a few disagreements, not that many. But yeah, he's not like, he's not the most amazing defender of all time, especially not for the Clippers, but like putting him in at a small ball center lineup actually it gives them such like a big advantage because Cousins, he's cool, but he's just not like it's just completely obvious he cannot keep up on defense. Like he's probably like out of this might be a hot take, but besides like Luke Kennard, I don't see anyone on the Clippers who is like a worse defender than him. Simply because like he can't keep up in pick and rolls. He's about as useful as Enes Kanter when it comes to that. He's not really a good shot blocker anymore. And he's just not like, he can't contest or even get up there really at this point. And I know like he's been through a lot, so I don't give him hate on that. It's just he's not that great of an option for that. And with someone like DeAndre Ayton, who is scoring boatloads of buckets, and he did have that game-winning alley-oop. Having like playing Zubac for however many minutes isn't like, he's probably not going to get that many minutes with Ty Lue's system. And having DeMarcus Cousins or having Nick Batum in, it's going to like really, affect the Clippers that way. And I think the Clippers have one of the best benches in the NBA. Pat Bev is a great option. We saw that last game. Reggie Jackson, he used to be on the bench and then he became a starter and he's been doing amazing. Kennard, he's like an on and off shooter, but he does his job well. And Terrence Mann, he's been solid. I'm trying to think of everyone else on that roster.
But Patrick Beverly's now a bench player.
Well, yeah, I know that. I just said that he did really good.
Yeah. I think you pretty much mentioned the main guys that get minutes. Honestly, yeah. Other than that, they've had like Ibaka hurt, Kawhi is out. I think you pretty much nailed it with the guys that will actually play.
Yeah. Speaking about like Kawhi, question to Max and Steven. What do you think about the Clippers like information with Kawhi's injury? Because to me it seems like, they're not giving enough details. Like it could be something more. They're not really playing him. They said that he'll be out this game. Like, what do you think about all that? Because in my personal opinion, I just don't really know. And I think, he might have suffered a bigger injury than we all think.
The rumors I have it that it's an ACL injury. That's what the rumors have been. That would explain why there's no answer on what exactly the injury is. It might just be a little bit of a damaged ACL, something like that, sprained MCL, something like that. I think it's along those lines. That would explain why he's not, he doesn't have a cast on. He doesn't have everything on. He's just recovering right now. I think that explains it the best and what the rumors are all pointing to. But I will say I think Kawhi should be down there courtside with his teammates. I don't think he should be up there. I love the spending time with his family. All NBA players should do that. His family should be at the game, but I do believe that as a player, he should be down there with his team. I just wanted to touch on that real quick. But, Steven, what are your speculations on his injury? That was a good question, Jay.
I read about the ACL injury possibility. If it is an ACL injury, obviously it's not torn. If it was torn, we would have heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
But all the rumblings are that it is something to do with his ACL, MCL, something around there. But I think the Clippers are smart about not disclosing any information because the last time Kawhi dealt with a serious injury was with the Spurs. And we all know how that went with the Spurs. Things got out, people said certain things, and then it ended up him being out of San Antonio. And let's not forget, Kawhi, he's a free agent this year, So, hey, I think the Clippers got to just, keep their mouth shut like they've been doing. Let all the cards fall into place. Keep Kawhi happy. Don't disgruntle him by saying anything Maybe Kawhi wants it that way too. Maybe he doesn't want people to worry. Maybe they're giving into his demands about that. So I think it's smart for them not to say anything, than to say something and have something get misinterpreted to where Kawhi is definitely like, you know what? I'm out. This is just like San Antonio.
Yeah, I really do agree with that. I think the Clippers may be actually doing a smart thing by not disclosing the information because that could landslide in something crazy and have Kawhi out of there in a heartbeat. But enough real quick talking about the Clippers and Suns. We got to talk about the Hawks and Bucks. Bucks even the series and quite the game by them last night. Are the Bucks going to run away with this, or do you think the series is going to go back and forth? Jay, we'll start with you on this one.
Well, I find it pretty interesting that I was the one who I said I was like the only one on the podcast who said I think the Hawks might have a chance of winning. Um, I think they're fine. They were really turnover heavy. The Bucks played amazing defense. Brooke Lopez had like a highlight where I think he dunked on Capella and then he got back on the other end and blocked a shot, like blocked that floater by Trae Young. So they were just like playing really good defense. I like that they added Bobby Portis in because Bobby Portis, he played amazing throughout the regular season. I think he shot like 47% from three, if I'm not mistaken. And he was like giving all types of energy throughout the floor. But I think in total, the Hawks will probably adjust on that part. Nate McMillan is an amazing coach. Let's just not get that twisted. The man literally turned this Hawks team from a possible lottery pick to getting in the conference finals.
Definitely. I think this Hawks the whole thing, I think the players are getting talked about like they deserve. But the whole management system has been a crazy turnaround. They've done it amazingly, and I'm really proud of this Hawks franchise for turning this around so fast. But Steven, can the Hawks come back after that devastating loss, or are the Hawks done for?
So when the series started, I said I would not be surprised if the Hawks did win because Nate McMillan, very underrated. I think, just like Jay said, he's an amazing coach, and I think he was let go of Indiana, fired unjustly. But if you look at the Bucks' track record, it shows you that they should win, but it's not guaranteed. I think the Hawks, it's 50-50 for me if, they could win the series because if we look back at last series of Brooklyn and Milwaukee, now I know it's not fair to make any comparisons to Kevin Durant to anyone on the Hawks team, but I'm going to make a comparison like this. So the Bucks went to 7 games with a healthy Kevin Durant playing, half of James Harden. They went to a game, they had a 7-game series with a team that didn't have as many offensive weapons as Atlanta. You look at Atlanta, they have Trae Young, Bogdanovich. They just got Cam Reddish back. They have, what's his name? They have Gallinari. They have a lot of offensive weapons, way more than Brooklyn has, for being honest. And their defense, Nate McMillan is a terrific defensive head coach. So if they're going to beat Milwaukee, he's got to make those proper adjustments, and they're just going to have to outscore. They're going to have to outscore Milwaukee because they're not going to slow them down. They won't slow them down. It doesn't matter what adjustments McMillan makes, but they're going to have to outscore the Bucks, definitely.
I think the biggest key in this series, I think the Bucks are actually going to walk away with this. But that all depends on the play of Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton will drop you 38 one night, then 20 the next night. It's really on and off with him. He'll hit the switch. He'll go off some nights, then he'll play like, the second or third guy on that team other nights. Jrue Holiday has to play a lot better defense, in my opinion. He kind of was letting Trae bully him game one. He kind of redeemed himself game two, but he needs to keep up the defensive work. He needs to keep trying to figure out Trae's game. I think that's going to be the biggest key for the Bucks. But like you said, the Hawks coaching staff is a lot better than the Bucks, in my opinion. I believe that's the opinion of everybody's. But I don't think you can really game plan for a hungry Giannis which is why you have to, like you said, outscore them. You're not going to slow them down because Giannis is going to get his 30. It's going to happen. If you slow them down to 20, great for y'all. Y'all are probably going to win that game unless Middleton does something out of this world. But forgive me. The Hawks have a very solid chance to outscore them. It all depends on the play of Middleton and Holiday, in my opinion. You guys want to add anything to there? Comment on that?
So I actually want to comment on something that I saw yesterday when I was watching. So I know Lou Williams hasn't been having a great postseason run, but when I see him handling the ball and he has Bryn Forbes on him, I feel like that's barbecue chicken for Lou Will, honestly. No disrespect to Bryn Forbes, but the guy just can't defend. Lou Williams, that's barbecue chicken. If he's got Bryn Forbes on him, he should be doing more with the ball.
Mm-hmm. Lou Williams should be dropping 20 points or something here or there. I mean, he's got the offensive firepower to do so, and the matchups have been in his favor. They just have not been utilizing him. I agree there. I think Lou Williams is going to turn up, though. I really hope he does. But so now that we're down to the final 4 teams, as you guys all know, who would you guys say has been the most impressive player out of all 4 teams? Steven, we'll go to you.
I'm honestly going to go Trae Young. Trae Young. So first round against the Knicks. The Knicks won the best defenses in the NBA, and Trae Young torched them. You go on to the next round against Philadelphia, and people are saying the same thing. Oh, Ben Simmons, he's going to clamp Trae Young. Trae Young still did pretty well. Even if he wasn't scoring the ball that well at times, his playmaking was still there. And now early in this series, game 1, nuclear. Game 2, you know what? That was a whole team effort on the Bucks' part. So game 2, it's whatever. But Trae Young performing like that against a team that just came off beating the Nets, that were favored to win the whole thing. And you know what? They have 2-time MVP Giannis. They have Defensive Player of the Year Giannis. They have Middleton, Jrue Holiday. They have all these players who are looked at as a great defensive players, great defensive team, and he still did that. Now, it's no surprise that they did adjust, but just wait till the Hawks adjust next game.
Yeah, the Hawks will hopefully adjust. I really want to make this series interesting. Like that Bucks Nets series was the most interesting by far. I loved every second of those games. I think the NBA would really benefit from this being a really good series. But before I give my answer on the best player out of these top 4, Jay, would you like to? Who do you think has been the best player out of these 4 teams?
Well, maybe not like the absolute best, but the most surprising to me is definitely like Reggie Jackson. Because, I mean, that's probably not the favorite pick. But, I mean, the guy has been doing things that you just would not expect. Like, he's been playing, like he should have been a starter in Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
Like, at points, he'll have, like, better games than Paul George. He'll have better games, like, during the Dallas series and sometimes, like, during the Utah Jazz series. He would be the best player on that team. And I just think, like, for him to step up, they would not have been in Dallas without him stepping up. That's just a simple thing. Because Kawhi can only do so much, and Paul George, I love him, but he's inconsistent, as can be. And, he's just been stepping up so heavily, and he's been guiding that, like, well, not guiding, but he's been just assisting, like, the main stars throughout, like, each series win games. Whenever they win games, you'll see he has, like, at least over 25 points. And he's also doing, like, that very efficiently as well.
Yeah, I agree. Reggie Jackson's been going crazy, but my opinion, the clear answer is Devin Booker. Game 1 coming into the conference finals, no Chris Paul. I know there was no Kawhi, but it was going to be Paul George versus Devin. Devin does a 40-point triple-double out of nowhere. I went and watched a Nuggets game against the Suns. Devin Booker had his fingerprints all over that game, absolutely dismantled them, and all throughout this playoffs, he hasn't. He has. He's been that guy. He's been that guy that nobody can stop. He has the ball. He's scoring 9 out of 10 times, and he's really imposed his will on the other teams. I know, granted, he did not shoot the best and play the best the other night, but he's not going to do that very often. Plus, it was the first game with him playing in a mask because Patrick Beverly headbutted him. I'm not going to say if it was dirty or not, but he headbutted him and Devin Booker was out of it. But Devin Booker has really surprised me. I did not think he could be that guy on a championship team because of all the previous years. But now that he's got Chris Paul, who's playing the second fiddle, but it's times you say, oh, Chris Paul, he's playing like the best guy on the court. It goes back and forth with these two, but Devin Booker has absolutely taken this league by storm in the playoffs. I think he was slept on a little bit too much. Now, granted, he wasn't slept on in the regular season, but come playoff time, nobody really thought this Suns team would make it that far. Now look at them. They're in the conference finals. I mean, to be perfectly honest, a lot of people thought my Lakers would beat them. It was 50-50 everywhere I kind of looked, and a lot of analysis were picking the Lakers to win. We were injured, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into that. But this Suns team has gone from 0 to 100 in one season, and it's the most impressive thing to watch, and honestly, the most amazing thing to watch as an NBA fan.
I agree with that. And like, I'm not just saying that because I'm a Chris Paul fan. This was the year, honestly, that made me a Devin Booker fan. I wasn't a big fan of him. I thought he was pretty overrated. But this year, he's actually changed my opinion on him.
Yeah, he's I wasn't the best Devin Booker fan either. I thought he was a little bit overrated, but he's really surprised me and made me a big Devin Booker fan now, and I'm here for every second of it. And I really hope he continues to do good things. But I also believe that this is the Suns' chance. I think if they don't get it this year, they probably won't get it, in my opinion.
May I mention how good these playoffs have been?
More interesting than any playoff series in a while.
Yeah, and for me specifically, it's like we finally have teams who have not been here before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the Hawks, like somehow the Hawks have made the conference finals more times than Philly has in the process, but you know, we're gonna ignore that part. Even after a rebuild, they're still here before the process. But so this is, I remember like reading a few articles. This is one of the first times in like forever that the finals doesn't have the Spurs, the Lakers, the Heat, or the Warriors in them for like the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's crazy. Like, that's just completely crazy to think about. And now we have, like, young blood here. Like, it's not just a bunch of older teams. Giannis is only, like, 26. Middleton hasn't been anywhere. Holiday hasn't been anywhere. The Hawks are, like, completely young. Like, other than Lou Will and Gallinari, I don't even think they have that many veterans in general.
Solomon Hill.
Oh,
the disrespect on his name. You stop it.
We do not care about him. We do not care about him. Then you have Booker. Chris Paul has never been to the finals, but he's a finals worthy player. Like he's always been able, like, you know, I've always thought he could take that next step.
Yeah.
And then the Clippers, the entire franchise hasn't even been to the Western Conference Finals until now. So
sucks.
I just think this year's playoffs, I know people hate it because, oh, no big market team, win. But it's interesting. That's just like amazing.
No, this playoff bracket has been outstanding, and you know there's so many upsets that are happening. It's really one to watch, and that's why the ratings I think have been up higher than they have been in forever. I think everybody got tired of watching LeBron win or Curry win, and now that they finally tuned in to watch new teams win. All these guys, like you said, are very young. This league's getting overrun by young guys, and it's amazing to see. I mean, look, Luka Doncic by himself was given a run for Kawhi and Paul George who have been running this league, not exactly running it, but who have been top stars in this league for the past 10 years. Luka's coming in his third year, and he's taking them on games by himself. It's amazing to see the young guys stepping up and taking over this league. I think it's one of the most impressive things to watch as an NBA fan.
I agree. And you bringing up youth, I actually have a question for you and Jay.
All right.
So I've seen this on NBA Twitter. I've kind of debated about it with some people, and I want your guys' opinions. Is inexperience for young players, is that a real thing, or is that just making an excuse for them?
I think,
For playoffs?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think first year I think only the first year there's that problem. First year, and it's not even like the first year; it's like the first series you go into. Because let's be honest, there's nothing like walking into a playoff atmosphere for the first time. Once you get that down, you're fine. But for the first time going into a playoff atmosphere, it will drive you insane. Especially if you're one of those players that the team relies on you to win. If you're somebody who just comes off the bench and it's your first time, you're not too worried. You're not getting on the court that much. But if you're like, let's say, for example, like this year, Julius Randle, first year being that guy to go into the playoffs, he choked. But I necessarily don't entirely blame him because, his first time being that guy in a playoff atmosphere, let alone being at Madison Square Garden in Atlanta, two of the biggest playoff atmospheres you can be in. So it's first year and first series, in my opinion. And sometimes there's not even that. Like Trae Young, he's been having the kind of hate he's had all his life. He's been the villain. So it's on and off. And I think there are times where you can go, yeah, it was his first time. I kind of see why he fell apart. Jay, what did you think on the question?
Pretty much the same. Like after that first playoff series, you can understand who's going to be that guy and who, like, it's either you are that guy, pal, or you are not that guy, pal. There's no in between. But I think Trae Young had probably the worst type of, like, when you think about it, for a first-time playoff entry, they went to the Knicks. They went to New York, and you know how New York fans are.
No,
they were
spit
like,
on him.
they were spitting on him. They were saying, F Trae Young. Trae Young is balding.
Oh, that
All
was
this,
kinda
all
funny.
that. they were even like holding up pictures of birds because Trae Young is scared of birds. Like he had the
Ironic that he's a
worst.
hawk.
Very ironic.
He had the worst type of experience, and look what he did. He let them out for like 30 every single game. But
Trae
like,
Young embraces it.
meanwhile, Randall, I will admit, Randall, he probably wouldn't have done as bad if he had teammates who could score as well. Because let's not just throw the shade on him. Let's throw it on RJ Barrett for not being able to hit anything throughout the
Well,
entire
no,
series.
I do think we could put hate on Randall because
Yes, we
he
can.
was
We can.
just a shot. He was just a shot chucker. Like if you saw him, like in the shots that he took, it's like really, bro.
He panicked.
Yes, he was being bad, but at the same time, he had like no spacing, and he was being tripled every single time.
That is true
Because,
too.
like, people fail to understand, whenever he drove to the basket, there was always Clint Capella. Clint Capella would be right there at him, which, Randall's like main way of scoring is either, 3-point or driving in. I like, and Clint Capella was there, and we all know he's an amazing shot blocker. Maybe not on Embiid or Giannis, but for like average people, he's a good defender and a good shot blocker. And he was like, Capella was owning Randall. Like he was making him out to be a little baby sometimes. But Collins was also there, and then sometimes there was always like Kevin Herter or someone like that who would step in and kind of like try and snipe the ball from him, which is why he ended up with like, I don't know. He averaged like 3 or 4 turnovers per game throughout the series.
There is another team that real quick, Jay, don't mean to interrupt, but there's another team that we're kind of overlooking real quick here that was another perfect example of first-time playoff atmosphere, and I think that team is the Miami Heat.
Hey, what? Huh?
Hey,
if
you don't get the joke, then I feel bad for you.
Here, let me just start. You know what, Jay? Hold on. Yeah, let's just start off with Tyler Hero being in the playoff atmosphere for the first time. Bubbles, he wasn't in that atmosphere. Comes and he averaged 7 points. Explain yourself, Steven. Explain yourself.
While we're on that topic, how is a Contavious Caldwell Pope?
He's
I like Jay.
So we're making fun of a guy who got robbed.
After the fact, yes.
Well, he did
got-
rob the Lakers of $20 million, so you know what it's even.
Exactly. So, you know what? It makes perfect sense. Karma comes back, and it's a bitch sometimes, and it came directly for him and snatched his soul during the playoffs.
But seriously,
But, like,
though,
really, KCP, he was, like, on fire when they were on I think Steven might remember because he probably watched all of it. But KCP did not miss a shot. He did not miss. In the heat of battle, he did not miss. But like come playoff time this year, LeBron couldn't even pass to him.
because he wouldn't shoot the damn ball. They were giving LeBron all the tough shots. I'm like, hey, you shoot it, you shoot it. That pissed me off.
And then Schroeder too.
Oh, Schroeder just doesn't know how to make a layup.
That was a great 1 year rental.
Oh God, dude, we gave a first for him.
And are you forgetting playoff veteran Danny
No,
Green?
you shut your mouth. You shut your mouth. We don't talk about. Steven was cheering when he missed that shot. We should have beat you in 5, and you know it, Steven.
We would have beaten you guys if Bam and Goran Dragic were never hurt.
Yeah, I'm sure. Especially I've seen Bam play this year in the playoffs.
You know what? All right, the whole Heat team played like crap. Okay, I think it was a Legend of Winning video, and the Miami Heat missed 38% of their wide open shots. We just couldn't hit shots, and you know
Not
what?
only that,
Actually, we
Bryn
couldn't
Forbes.
defend. We couldn't even defend either. So you know what? It don't matter. Even if we hit shots, we were getting swept. It don't matter. Max,
Yeah,
are you
Bryn-
happy?
Bryn Forbes
Thank
was
you.
literally I don't think. Okay, so here's some history. We had a guy on this podcast at one point, and his famous quote during the podcast is, "I think Bryn Forbes will be the next Kyle Korver."
Well, you know what?
And at that time, we laughed at him. And like when we ended the podcast, we were like, "Bro, what? Why would you say that? What is wrong with you?" And then this series, the Heat versus Bucks series came up, and then Bryn Forbes just went off and became Stephen Curry. And me and Max, we came together and we were like, how did he know?
No, he's wrong. Because
How
Kyle
did
Korver
he
doesn't
know?
perform in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, neither does Bryn Forbes typically, but then again, he just outscored Jimmy Butler.
By one. And that's all he needs to do.
He didn't even start. I'm sorry.
Just watch. Just watch.
What?
We're getting Kawhi.
Oh, you're getting Kawhi, another guy who struggles to win.
I don't know if you know this, but Jimmy and Kawhi, that was gonna be the duo. That's who he wanted to play with. That's who Kawhi wanted to play with first.
So real quick, how are you going to afford
Speaking
him?
about
Because you
that.
got Bam Adebayo's contract.
What was that?
You got Jimmy, and you got to pay Jimmy, right? I believe he is also coming up on free agency, correct?
We've already. Oh yeah, we got to extend him still. Actually.
Yeah, and you just paid Bam a crap ton of money. How the hell are you
Yep.
going to get Kawhi? And let's just
And
say hypothetically, you do get Kawhi, right? What bench are you going to have? Because we've seen with Brooklyn, without a bench, it doesn't work.
Heat
Hey, look,
fans
all I'm
love
gonna
Tyler
say
Hero, re-sign Tyler Hero.
Give him a max,
All I'm gonna
guys. He's
say
better than Prime MJ.
is in Pat Riley. We trust.
Yeah, well,
Trust the Godfather.
yeah,
What
yeah,
did
trust
I
the
get you for the
Don.
last
trust
two
him to get
seasons?
swept in the first round, guys. Come on, keep it up.
Trust the process. Trust
Yeah.
for us to get our ass beat.
Oh,
Sorry,
I could get
I
into
have- I have-
Sixers and the
I'm a
Sixers
Raptors fan,
fans
so I
all
always have
day.
to hate on Sixers.
I could rip the Sixers all day.
Oh, we can all rip the Sixers. I mean, Ben Simmons. I mean, he could probably send it to the Heat. He'll help your scoring out.
Hey, honestly, I'll take him on the Heat.
I know you would. You need any scoring you can get.
Wow.
I
Hey,
mean,
how would
5
Andre
points is
Drummond
fine.
work out?
Oh, I mean, better than Bam.
I
what,
rip
getting
him
DNP
about Drummond
coach
every single
decisions?
day.
Oh no, the thing is with Andre Drummond. I mean, at least he didn't chuck up 15 shots and only make 2. He wouldn't shoot as much as Bam did.
At least Bam can defend.
He can. It did look like it.
All defensive second team. All defensive second team.
I mean, when you're playing with Jimmy Butler, I guess you look a little bit better.
When you play with LeBron and AD, you should look better than what Drummond looked like.
He wasn't playing with 80. 80 was hurt most of the time, and LeBron was also injured. But go off, I guess. We still put up more of a fight than you did. We won some games, and we were missing 80.
Well, when you got LeBron James, you're gonna not get swept. So
Yeah,
that's just how it works.
Well, normally when you have LeBron, you don't lose in the first round, so nothing's in stone right now.
LeBron, he's getting old. You guys should trade him to the Heat.
Andre Drummond is just a shorter
We'll give you
Hassan
guys we'll give
Whiteside
you guys Tyler
with no
Hero.
defense.
Ooh, he's offering Tyler though, Jay. That's a tough one.
I mean, like, just like all Lakers fans say when they're about to like try and go for a superstar player. Kuzma, THT, Schroeder, and a first. That's literally the offer every single time. Whenever you go on like Lakers Twitter, that is all they will give. They will not give anything else but Kuz, THT, then a
Who's
Schroeder,
THT, KCP to first? Make it happen. Give us Dame.
a first from 2055. You can get an
THT, KCP, what is this? They're trading the damn alphabet?
You can get an unborn child in Kuzma. Why not?
Yeah. We'll give you a Drummond and Kuzma for Dame. Make it happen. But in all seriousness, I think we should wrap it up here. I want to give a huge thanks, Stephen. Thank you for coming on. It means the world. I really hope you come on soon again, man.
Hey man, it was lit being on here. Yeah, hopefully I can join again someday.
Yeah, dude. Anytime you're free, if we're free and you're down to hop on, you let us know. We'll set you up for a date. We'll get you right on. And of course, thank you, Jay, for always showing in. What?
Yeah, even if it's just a little bit late.
We stopped it for you. Don't worry. You weren't late to the viewers. They don't know that. But again,
now they do.
That was a lie.
Huge shout out to you guys. Means the world for you guys stopping by. Peace out, everybody.